In this lecture, let us discuss line codes. If you recall, in the last lecture we started the line codes, and so we said there are four problems when you design a line code. That is DC power, DC. If the signal has some DC content, then there is a DC wastage of power, and the DC component will be attenuated more than the AC component. That is the second point. And third one is detection problem because of the DC wandering effect. And then if you have long sequence of ones and zeros, then you will be forced to transmit continuously positive voltage or continuously negative voltage. So in that case, synchronization is also a problem. So these are the four problems we looked at in the last lecture. Now in this lecture, let us discuss the line codes which try to minimize these four problems. So let me first talk generally about two important classes of line codes which are coined and standardized by CCITT. The codes are AMI code, where AMI stands for alternate mark inversion, and the second one is HDBN, capital H, capital D, capital B and small m. Okay, where HDB stands for high density bipolar codes, and the small n indicates the parameter of the code. Okay, so that's it. So basic name is high density bipolar, and the small n is the parameter of the code, and which we will talk about later. Okay, for example, we will be having HDB 3 codes, then HDB 5 codes, and so on and so forth. Okay, so let me talk about these codes and appreciate how the use of these codes avoids or possibly reduces the effect of some of the kinds that we discussed in the last lecture. Okay, so let me take the sequence as follows: 1 0 1, okay, 1, then continuously 4 zeros like this, and then 1. Okay, now let me draw for this AMI, alternate mark inversion. So in this method, 1 is represented by a positive pulse, and 0 is denoted by 0 like this, and the next one will be not like this positive pulse, not like this. What you do, you represent by the negative pulse. You keep on inverting the mark like this. Here positive voltage for 1, and opposite of this positive voltage is negative voltage for next one, right? And then for the next one you put positive voltage for 1, and then for 0 don't do anything. Okay, you keep it as it is, 0 0 0 like this. Therefore whenever you get 1, that 1 will be its polarity is changing. Like for first one, let us start with positive voltage, and the next one negative voltage, and the next one positive voltage. Keep on goes. For here it is negative voltage like this. So this one is called alternate mark inversion. Mark means positive voltage, and the positive voltage is inverted for every bit. Okay, and then we will draw this HDB3, high density bipolar n codes, where n is the parameter of the code. So here the same thing, you start with positive pulse for 1, and 0 means you put 0 voltage for 0, and then for next one you invert the polarity like this, negative voltage for 1, because since here you give positive voltage for this one, then for this one you give negative voltage, and then for the next one same thing. But the problem is you are allowing the continuous zeros like a 0 voltage. This is the problem that we discussed in the last lecture. So therefore for 3 zeros you allow as it is, for 3 zeros. So first 0 you allow 0 voltage, second 0 you allow 0 voltage, third 0 you allow 0 voltage, but fourth 0 don't allow it like that, you put positive pulse. Okay, and this positive voltage indicates 0 here. So this is the only difference between HDBN code and AMI code. This 3 you will come to know the meaning now. So you allow up to 3 zeros and then invert it. So this here the 0 is indicated by positive voltage, and here this 1 is a positive voltage. So whenever you encounter positive followed by next positive, then you will understand that the first positive indicates logic 1 and followed by the second positive pulse indicates logic 0. But look at here in the AMI, the positive voltages keep on changing, positive, negative, positive, negative, positive to negative, negative to positive, then positive to negative. But in this code also, if you look at positive to negative, negative to positive, then again positive to positive. So whenever you encounter this kind of positive to positive, then you will come to know that this positive voltage is denoting logic 0, not logic 1. Okay. Therefore, one of the common feature of both these codes is that they are actually both bipolar. Both AMI and HDB3 both are bipolar because it uses both positive voltage, negative voltage and 0 voltage. So it's a bipolar, right? They are actually transmitting not only positive voltage levels and negative voltage levels, but also look at here 0 voltage levels. Here also 0 voltage levels. Therefore, both AMI and HDB3 are bipolar. So in a sense, we can call them as a ternary code because it has 3 levels, right? That means it has positive voltage, 0 voltage, as well as negative voltage. Therefore, we can call this guy as a negative voltage. Okay, so they are ternary codes. Ternary means 3. Okay, so ternary means 3 levels, and both these codes, one is represented by either positive voltage or negative voltage. Okay, so positive and negative voltage denotes the 1. Okay, positive and negative levels now are not representing ones and zeros in HDB code. Okay, so positive and negative are both representing ones and zeros are being represented by a 0 voltage level in both these codes. But there is only one difference that, okay, and in AMI one gets a simplistic view that if you get a long string of ones, to ensure that there is no long string of ones, you just alternate or invert the ones. See, in the last lecture, if you look at like unipolar codes, in this unipolar code, if 1 comes like this, 1, 1, 1, 1 comes like that, then what you do? You continuously send positive voltage like this. This is your unipolar code. But in AMI code, what you do? For first one, you send positive voltage. For second one, you send negative voltage. For next one, you send positive voltage. And the next one, you send negative voltage. This also representing 1, this also representing 1, this also representing 1, this also representing 1. So you keep alternating between positive voltage and negative voltage in AMI codes. Therefore, the long sequence of 1 is transformed into both positive voltage and negative voltage, but here you are getting continuously positive voltages. If you have continuous positive voltage, then due to this transmission line, the transmission line gives the low frequency response, so because of that the output will be like this, keep on reducing like that. Therefore you will be having all these problems like finite DC component, and DC attenuation is more than AC, and then synchronization problem and detection problem, all problems will come. But if you take this waveform, the problem will be eliminated. That means the average value is again 0, no DC wandering, and synchronization also not a problem, because every bit it is keep on alternating. For first bit it is positive, negative bit it is alternating, and the next bit it is alternating, like every bit it is crossing the 0 value. So synchronization problem solved in this. So here no synchronization problem, and no DC wandering, in fact no DC component, right? I mean minimum DC component if at all is there, and then attenuation also less attenuation because very low DC component. So all problems are eliminated in EMI code. But there is a problem. That problem is if you have long sequence of zeros, then you will be having problem. So that will be eliminated by HDB code. Okay, to ensure that there is no long string of ones, you just alternately invert the ones. Therefore alternate marks are here. When I write alternate mark, here mark indicates 1. Okay, mark means 1. Either you can call alternate mark or you can call alternate 1 like this. Alternate 1 inversion or alternate mark inversion. So that means what? That one level is keep on changing. For first one you send positive voltage, second one you send negative voltage, third one you send positive voltage, fourth one you send negative voltage. So you are keep on alternating the mark value or 1 value. Okay, simply you are inverting. That is, one is represented by positive voltage, and the next one will be represented by negative voltage, and the next one will be positive voltage, and the next one will be negative voltage, and so on and so forth. And obviously that will avoid a long string of ones. Okay, so actually what you are not worried about is long string of ones. Okay, long string of 1 is taken care now. But what you are really worried about is a long duration of positive voltage or long duration of negative voltage. Okay, we don't have any issues with no long string of ones or long string of zeros. In fact, as I said in the last lecture, we don't have control over them. Okay, so you cannot go and tell the source and ask that source to transmit alternate 1 and 0. So whatever comes, you should be in a position to transmit it. So we are not worried about long string of ones, but we worried about long duration of positive voltage and long duration of negative voltage. And now that is taken care here. See, this is long duration of positive voltage. Duration of positive voltage. So this long duration of positive voltage is a problem for us. Now that long duration of positive voltage is broken into positive voltage, negative voltage, positive voltage, negative voltage, like that. Okay, so this long duration of positive voltage and negative voltage we really wanted to avoid. That is, we want to avoid the long duration of positive voltages. So which you can avoid by doing this like this. For the first one you transmit positive voltage, for the next one you transmit negative voltage, for the next one you transmit positive voltage. In that way you can avoid it. So therefore this EMI is an example using this is an example where we can avoid the long string of ones. In case if I have a long string of zeros which I want to avoid, so what can I do? If you look at here, say in this long string of zeros, Okay, here 0, 0, 0, long string of zeros. Therefore, if you take AMI actually will not take care long zeros. Okay, will not take care of long string of zeros. So it will only take care of long string of ones. Whenever you have long string of ones, then it keep on alternates between positive voltage and negative voltage. But the moment you get long string of zeros, that is not taken care of by AMI. So that is the disadvantage. So the AMI will not take care of long string of zeros. This is the disadvantage of your AMI code, alternate mark inversion, because it marks alternately for mark value, one value. Okay, it alternates only the mark value, not the zero value. I mean, it alternates only the logic one. It will not touch the zero value. Okay, now two ones, in case if you have two ones consecutively, that will be taken care of by your AMI code. First one will be like positive voltage, second one will be negative voltage, and third one will be positive voltage. Okay, see this one continuously I have two ones here. These two ones are taken care of by this one with the negative voltage and this one with the positive voltage, no problem. Okay, again I have negative voltage. So as far as one is concerned, I don't have any issues. Therefore, this is better than your unipolar codes. But there is a problem. That problem is the AMI code will not take care of long string of zeros. Okay, therefore the AMI can avoid a DC Vander problem, but it does not totally eliminate the synchronization problem. Why? Look at this location. Here there is no zero crossing, it is continuously in the same level. So in this case, your synchronizer will fails to synchronize with the transmitter. So here is the problem in the synchronizer part. Okay, because there will be clocks at various intervals and they will have their own stability equations. Okay, in fact every time you start transmission, one doesn't know whether your clocks are really fully synchronized or not. Even a 1 hertz difference in clock can be crucially affecting your performance, and it is bad. That is the cost you are paying in all digital systems. Your complexity is much more than in analog systems. Therefore, synchronization is totally not required in analog receivers, but this is very, very important in digital systems. Okay, in analog receivers, there is no concept of clock pair or clock being synchronized with the transmitter clock. Whereas in digital transmission, it is absolutely crucial, and there is nothing we can do about it except to make sure that you satisfy the requirement. So somehow we need to design a code such that there should be some transition even when you get zeros also, even when you get long string of zeros also. So in that case, we need to design a code such that there will be some transition, or we need to think how many zeros should I allow, and after that should I make transition. Okay, so that's what we did in HDBA code. Let me delete. So I will wait up to 3 zeros. Beyond that I will not wait. Okay, I will not allow zero line. I will put a positive voltage like this. Okay, so HDB3 is very similar to AMI code with only one difference. Okay, and this HDB code also, HDBN code also takes care of long string of ones, but also takes care of long string of zeros. Okay, so AMI code will take care of only long string of zeros, but HDBN code takes care of long string of ones and long string of zeros. But when you come to long string of zeros, it allows 3 zeros. That's why this N indicates HDB. This 3 indicates you wait up to 3 zeros. After third 0, if you see fourth 0, then you make a transition. That's what this HDB3 says. That means for first 0, 0 voltage, second 0, 0 voltage, third 0, 0 voltage. If fourth 0 comes, don't transmit 0 volt, you transmit positive voltage. That's what you will do in the HDB3 code. But if you take HDB5 code, then you wait up to 5 zeros. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 5 zeros. 0 volt, 0 volt, 0 volt, 0 volt, 0 volt. And then again in the fifth time slot also, if you get a 0, then you put a positive voltage. Therefore, the significance of this HDB3, the number 3 is, or if you write HDBN, the significance of the small n is that the maximum length of 0 string that you will permit, after which you will change like this. Okay, you will change the nature of 0 from 0 volt to a positive voltage, 0 volt to a positive voltage, in a manner that at the receiver you will know somehow that a 0 was transmitted. Okay, actually a 0 has to be interpreted, and the way to do it is, if you get a long string of zeros, follow it up by marks, but follow it up by a mark of different rule than the one which I am using in the AMI. In the AMI, what you do, for first one you put positive pulse, next one you put negative pulse, and the next followed by next one you put positive pulse, followed by next one you put negative pulse, positive pulse, negative pulse, negative pulse, positive pulse. But here instead of going down, you go up. Okay, so you do some violation from AMI in the HDB code. Violation means that this mark should have been really of this sign, positive sign. Okay, but you transmit the mark of the same sign. So when you get two consecutive marks which are of the same sign, the next one is to be treated as 0. Okay, let's say 1, 0, 1, 1, 0, 0, 4 zeros like this. Then what you do? Or else let me take like this. Okay, and so let me take the same example so that it will be easy to explain. Positive pulse for 0, 0 voltage. Then for this one, go to the negative pulse, and then again positive pulse. Then 3 zeros you allow as it is. Now since this is positive, and here also you put positive. So at the receiver, when you encounter both are positive pulses, then the first one is 1 and the second positive pulse is 0. But if you look at in this range, here positive, here negative, here positive, here negative, no problem. So this is 1 and this is 1 and this is 1. But if you compare this guy and that guy, then both are in the same sign, both are positive voltage. This also positive, this also positive. Therefore, the first one is logic 1, you decide as logic 1, and the second positive pulse is you decide logic 0. Okay, so at any time you can permit 3 zeros, right? Transmit a mark in between, then again. If you encounter more than 3 zeros, then you transmit a mark. Transmit a mark for logic 0 or bit 0. Therefore, whenever you get two consecutive marks which are of the same sign, the next one is to be treated as 0. See, here I have one mark. Okay, here I have one mark, and this is my second mark. First mark and second mark means 1, that's all. Okay, or positive voltage or negative voltage. So when you get two marks of the same sign, then the first mark is decided as 1 and the second mark is decided as 0. That's all. Okay, so the next mark is to be treated as 0. So as long as you keep getting marks of the same polarity, that means they all zeros, and basically what we are getting is additional zero crossings, additional bit transitions to take care of your synchronization problem. So why are we doing these things? To take care of the synchronization problem, because for synchronization we need to know where we need to get pulses, somehow it has to cross the 0 point. Okay, therefore in HDBN you can permit up to n codes, n zeros, but obviously smaller the value of n, the better. Therefore HDB3 code, in fact the most important code out of the HDBN class. So that's it as far as these two important class of codes is concerned. Okay, so we mostly use HDB3 code. The reason is not from the intermediate transition point of view that you would like to have a large number of transitions as frequently as possible. If you have a large number of transitions, then the synchronization is very easy. So small n is equal to 3 is the most popular HDB encoder. And of course you require a certain amount of delay here at the encoder. Why? Because we need to wait to decide. You have to see the zero, you have to see the 3 zeros, how come, and only then we will do that. So coding delay is implicit in HDBN. So we will consider n is equal to 3. That is the most popular one. HDB3 most popular line codes. Okay, and drawback is there is a coding delay. In case if you get 3 zeros, then you have to wait and see what is the next bit. Then only you can decide whether this is 0 or 1. So there will be some delay in this code. Okay, so that's all about the two classes of line codes. This HDB code and AMA code. So we have different kinds of codes like polar codes, bipolar codes, on-off codes. Right? We started with the unipolar codes, right? This unipolar code is also called on-off codes, and then we discussed polar codes in the last lecture, and in this lecture we discussed bipolar codes. In the bipolar codes, the two examples AMI code and what is the next one? HDB code. Okay, now it will be useful also to study their spectral properties. Suppose if you design a pulse shape like this, or a square pulse like this, or you can design a pulse like that, or you can design a pulse like this, right? So these all pulses are in the time domain, but we don't know how much bandwidth does it require. So therefore it will also be useful to study their spectral properties in the frequency domain. So there are a lot of things you can learn by looking at their spectral properties, right? That is looking at their power spectrum or power spectra of signals, how much power does it need, and what is the bandwidth of each pulse, and what is the maximum data rate at which you can transmit, and what is the interference. So many things we can study, whether this pulse can suitably fit in the particular channel. So everything we can come to know by studying its spectral properties. Okay, so we will spend some time on doing some maths or looking at the power spectrum of such line coded signals. Okay, so therefore all line codes are special cases of like a pulse train of like this. Anyway, I will discuss these things in the next lecture, but let me give some outline. So you have a pulses like that, and then 0 voltage, positive voltage, 0 voltage. Then you have negative pulses like this. Sometimes you have large positive voltage, right? And then you have this like this, and then 0 voltage, then you have large negative voltage. General waveform I'm drawing here. Okay, so this is my pulse train, but each pulse has its own amplitude. Okay, I am taking a fairly general situation here where I am permitting even amplitudes to be variable, but discrete amplitudes. Right, I am permitting even amplitudes to be variable. That means multiple amplitudes. Let's say this is A1, A2, A1. This is let's say minus A1, minus A2, minus A3, like this. Okay, so here we are permitting positive discrete values. These all are discrete values. Okay, and negative discrete values, and also 0 values in this general scheme of things. So this is your time axis. Okay, let's say your pulse width is t suffix 0, and the total duration between this pulse and that pulse width is let's say capital T. Let's say pulse duration T naught. Okay, T naught is your interval between successive bits. Okay, now I am having the general situation. 1 second, I did a small mistake in this. Let me redraw the figure. 1 minute, because this is not a general waveform, so let me draw the general waveform. So like this. Okay, and then like this, and then like that. Like this. Okay, now this duration, this on duration, this is called a small t naught, and this total duration, this is called a capital T naught. And here also this duration is on time is t naught, small t naught. This whole duration is capital T naught. That's what I want to make. You can design the pulse. This is general. Okay, generalization this is. But you can allow this pulse instead of partially on, you can allow this pulse to be fully on the whole duration. So in this case, your T naught is equal to capital T naught. It doesn't matter. It's up to you. Okay, how you are going to design the code. Sometimes the people will allow the pulse not to on the whole period, but they will allow to on the pulse, for half of the time, and for remaining half of the time it will be 0. In order to save the power. Okay, where capital T naught is the interval between successive bits. Interval between successive bits. And small t0 is the pulse width. Okay, so now I am having the general situation here. Okay, this is generalization of the pulse train, where even your pulse width, the small t naught, may not be equal to capital T naught. It will be less than T naught. Therefore, T naught is less than capital T naught. So this is a general situation I am considering here. So one can look at what data is being transmitted. That data will decide the amplitude of these pulses somehow, either directly or indirectly, and then one can compute the spectrum of this pulse train. If I take a rectangular pulse train like this and then do this analysis, I can do it by using some kind of Fourier series, right? If you recall, we can do the analysis by Fourier series and or autocorrelation analysis. So I think let me stop at this point. We will continue the spectral properties in the next lecture. spectral properties of your line codes. Thank you very much.